Hello Internet, today this cat and I are coming to you from rural Italy, not very far from where Dante, the poet, who wrote the Divine Comedy, lived and worked until he was exiled. I'm going to read to you now. I'm going to read to you from the Inferno, and I am going to read the 7th canto. Popoi Satan, alesero. So Plutus, shrill voice clucking on, began. But Virgil, wise and noble, knowing all, spoke out to comfort me. Let not your fears occasion you distress. Despite his powers, he cannot steal your right to scale this rock face. And then he turned to meet those rabid lips. Silence, you execrable wolf, he said. May fury gnaw you inwardly away, to these dark depths, with every right he treads. All this is willed where Michael, in the heights, avenged the rapine, sought by prideful hordes. As sails, inflated by furious wind, falls in a tangle when the mainmast snaps, so too he flopped, this predator, to the ground. Then downwards to the 7th sink we went, advancing further down the curving wall that bags up all the evil of the universe. God in all justice, I saw there so many new forms of travail, so tightly crowned. By whom? How can our guilt so rend and ruin us? Over Charybdis the sea surge swirls and shatters on the swell it clashes with. So must these people dance their Morisco. I saw in numbers greater than elsewhere 2 factions hollering, this one to that, who rolled great boulders, thrust rib and tit. Their stones would clash, then wheeling they'd retreat and yell across their shoulders, cry and counter-cry. You miser! Why? Why fling it all away? So back along that dismal curve they went, to reach, at either end, the diametric point, still screaming shamefully insulting chants. Arriving, each around his half-circle, back, each whisked around to tilt against the next other. At this, my heart transfixed, or very nearly. Sir, I spoke up, make clear to me what folk there are, and whether, to our left, all those with tonsured scalps could really have been clerics. Without exception, all of these, he said, when they first lived, had such strabismic minds they bear no check or measure on expense, and when they reach the 2 points in the round where converse crimes uncouple each from each, they bark their meaning out and sound it clear. Clerics they were, all those whose heads aren't dressed with shaggy hair, all popes, or cardinals. In that lot, avarice displays its worst. Well, sir, I said, in any group like this I surely ought to recognise a few who bore in that life the taint of this disease. You seek, he said, to form an idle thought. The mindless lives that made them all so foul darken them now against all acts of mine. Both to eternity will buck and butt. These from their tombs will rise with fists tight shut, the others with their curly manes cropped short. These frenzied sprees of fair-broil hoardings up have wrung from them the beauty of the world, and brought them firmly to this ugly brawl. You can see now, dear son, the short-lived pranks that goods consigned to fortune's hand will play, so causing such squabbles in the human ranks. For all the gold that lies beneath the moon, all that ever did lie there, would bring no respite to these worn-out souls, not one. Please tell me, sir, I said, a little more, what can it be, this fortune that you touch on, that clasps all earthly goods between its claws? And he to me, you idiotic creatures so greatly hurt by your own ignorance, feed on my words, I'd have you grasp their sense. He who transcends in wisdom all that is, wrought every sphere, and gave to each a guide, so every part shines out to every part, always in equal distribution of light. So too, above the splendours of the world, he set a sovereign minister, ordained to move, in permutations, at the proper time, vain goods from tribe to tribe, from blood to blood, in ways from which no human wisdom hides. And this is why, where one race rules supreme, another faints and languishes, they all pursue her judgments, secret as a snake in grass. Your powers of mind cannot contend with her. She, looking forwards, will pronounce her law, advancing, as do other gods, on her own domain. Her permutations never come to rest. It is necessary that makes her quick. So thick, they come by turns to meet their fate. She is the one so often crossed and cursed by those who, rightly, ought to sing her praise, yet vilify her name and speak her ill. But she, a holy being, pays no heed. Happy, with all the other primal powers, she turns her sphere, rejoicing in beatitude. So let us now go down to greater pain. The stars that rose when I first stirred now fall. We cannot stay too long. That is forbidden. Cutting across the circle, we approached the margins of a spring, which, seething, spilled and ran from there along an outer sluice. The waters here were darker, far, than Perth. So on, accompanied by murky waves, downwards we travelled by a weirder route, into a swamp, by name the loathsome Styx. This melancholy brook makes way and finds the foot of these malignant grey-black slopes. As there I stood, intent and wondering, I saw there, plunged with that stagnant fen, a peevish people, naked, caked with mud, each battered each, and not with fists alone, but also with headbutts, kicks, and charging chests. Their teeth, too, tore them, bit by bit, to shreds. You witness now, my gentle teacher said, the souls of those whom anger overthrew. And this I'd have you know, be sure, beneath the surface of this slick are some whose sighs, as you can see at every turn, now aerate that pullulating film. So stuck there, fast in slime, they hum, mournful we were, sunlight rejoices the balmy air, we, though, within ourselves find nurse sullen fumes, and come to misery in this black ooze. That is the hymn each gurgles in his gorge, unable to articulate a single phrase. So, on around this sour, revolting pit, beneath the sludge and arid rock, we swung our arc, eyes bent on those who gulped that slop. We reached, in fine, the bottom of a tower.